Hello and welcome to Saturday's Birmingham News Weekend Magazine. It's our relaxed look around Birmingham and the West Midlands. So what's coming up on today's show? Well, we're going to kick off with a look back at this week in the wide world of sport. I'll be seeing what's up on the community notice board. Stephen Jason will join us for some more interesting guests, and Carl will have the film news. We'll be picking another letter in our A to Z of the West Midlands, and then Des and Gary will take a look at what's on this week. We'll be experiencing a touch of the arts. Yes, and Norma Bartlam will be telling us what's so special about this month too. So it's all within the pages of this week's Weekend Magazine.
In sport this week, the University of Birmingham has recently opened its £55 million sport and fitness club. We managed to get inside and have a look, and their Director of Sport, Zena Waldridge, talked us through the Mammoth project.
Well, it's probably been a 10-year vision and a 10-year development plan, really. And when we started out, we were looking at potentially developing the existing Munro Centre site. But over time, this particular site became available, which was a real piece of luck, really, because it had a car park and a pub on it. Yeah. We managed to acquire that and actually then realised that this was an ideal location to put our new sports facility on. And so it developed from there, really. And as a result of this particular location, which is a new strategic gateway for the university, and it's got a fantastic interface with the community. As a result of that, we've ended up with a very high quality building, because we were only going to build a high quality building on this particular site.
Yeah, and on the site, I mean, it's a big site. So, what activities can people do here?
Yeah, well, I mean, the site itself is the size of two very large football pitches, and it's 4 stories high. So, you know, there's fantastic scope there. So at the front of the building, we have our 50-metre pool, which you can see. It's nice and transparent. It's 3 pools in one. It has a boom across, so we can either operate it as 2 25-metre pools or as a 50-metre pool. And the floor moves in one half, so we can have shallow water if we want to. So it's a fantastically versatile pool. Then we've got a 200-station gym, state-of-the-art techno-gym equipment in there. We have 6 squash courts. We have 5 activity studios, so we're offering up to 200 different classes a week.
What sort of classes would those?
Well, a whole range from your yoga and Pilates through to your high-impact fitness classes. Right. So a whole range of different classes throughout the week, so either early morning, lunchtimes, evenings, or throughout the day. Yeah. So there's fantastic choice there. And in addition to that, we've got a performance and wellbeing centre up on the top floor, where anyone can come in and get advice on their fitness and their well-being. So we have a team of physios there, we have a sports medic, we have sports scientists, sports nutritionists, so a whole team there that not just for students but for anyone who wants to come in and make use of that expertise. We have a climbing wall, you can see here.
Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a whole range of different facilities under one roof, but it's also about the programmes we operate, the programmes and the expertise of the staff also that we can operate through this facility.
I mean, how many new jobs has this created?
It's probably created about 30 or 40 operational staff, and then a lot of new instructors. Haven't actually counted them all up, but a lot of new fitness instructors as well, and gym staff. So it has created a number of new jobs.
And you were saying it's for not just the students that are at university, it's for the general public as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how does that work? Is there a membership? Can they come and pay and swim, for example? Yeah. Or?
Well, we've had a long tradition of 50-odd years of actually engaging the community and welcoming them to use our facilities on campus, so a long tradition of doing that. What this big facility does is it enables us to expand our community membership and extend it further, so people can join as members. It's really good value for money. Very flexible and versatile membership system, so you don't just join as join as a member and then regardless of what you use. You can join as just swim, just gym, combination of rackets, with classes, without classes, peak or off-peak membership. So there's a lot of choice, really, in terms of what you buy into.
Okay, so finally, for the viewers now, what would be your message to them that have just heard about the facility? What would your message be?
Well, the message would be, come and have a look round, and if you're keen to join and be active, it doesn't matter whether you're mum and toddlers, or dad and toddlers even, and right up to over 80s, or whether you're an absolute beginner or you have ambitions to be a high performer, there's something here for you. Come and explore, have a look round, and hopefully you'll want to be part of this great community.
So then, time for the community notice board. This is the news that you send to us. And if there's something we could mention, do get in touch, but as always, give us plenty of notice, and we'll give you those all-important contact details in a few minutes' time. Now, pupils at Bournville School raised a brilliant amount of money for the Birmingham Children's Hospital through the Big Sleuth project. You probably remember we mentioned that last week. Now, pupils at the academy, which is run by Fairfax Multi-Academy Trust, took part in a competition to decorate their own bear cub sculpture for this year's theme, which is Bournville's identity. To celebrate Bournville's identity, pupils were invited to share memorable stories of growing up in Bournville, which will be patched on the bear cub using the winning designs. Yes, the winning designs, named Bournville Unwrapped, were created by Amy Downing, who's in Year 11, and Anna Arouge from Year 9, and the design will resemble an unwrapped chocolate bar. Pupils also took part in fundraising activities, including a non-uniform day, I remember those days well, a cake sale, all of which helped raise over £1,000 valuable funds required by the hospital, so well done to them. Now, Becky Baldaro Booth has been in touch to say hello. Hello. I organise an annual charity fun run in aid of Parkinson's UK at the University of Birmingham. This year's event will be on Saturday the 21st of October. Now, Becky tells us that over the past 3 years they've had some fantastic celebrity supporters, including Paula Radcliffe and Steve Cram, and to date they've raised over £50,000 for the charity. Brilliant stuff. Now, she reckons it's a great family-friendly event in the inspiring surroundings of the university, and for many alumni a chance to reunite with friends to raise money. So that fun run takes place on the 21st of October at the University of Birmingham, and you can find out more, take a look, at www.budsrun.co.uk. It's all one word, BUDSRUN. Or on social media, just look them up, Buds Run. Love that word. Now, cat lovers are being urged to contact the Walsall branch of the RSPCA, which is short of people available to foster cats and kittens which come into its care. They rely on people coming forward to offer their time and homes to foster cats, as they don't have an animal centre or cattery facilities. Now, if there aren't enough volunteers to foster, it can reduce the number of cats that can be helped. Now, foster carers need to be able to drive, they need to live in the WS4 area, and also have somewhere quiet in their home for a new foster animal to settle in. Now, if they've got pets of their own, they must actually have a separate room to quarantine a new foster cat in. Now, all veterinary, food and litter costs are covered by the RSPCA branch through an ordering service which is located in the Chasetown area, and travelling expenses to vet visits are also covered. So, if you'd like more information about that, you can contact Becky Weeks by emailing enquiries@rspca-walsall.org.uk, or you can call 0845 272 3570. Next, Envision. That's a youth charity that runs a social action programme in schools across Birmingham to boost young people's employability skills. They're hosting an opportunities fair for young people on their Year 12 programme, and they're looking for people who'd like to promote their organisation. They're inviting a variety of organisations to showcase different career paths and options for young people to consider after finishing college or university. It all takes place on Wednesday the 5th of July at the H Suite in Edgbaston. It's a free event, and they tell us that they're expecting around 300 young people from 15 Birmingham schools. So if you'd like to find out more about this event or what Envision do, they're a registered charity and their local office is at the Custard Factory. You can have a look at their website, www.envision.org.uk, or you can give them a call on 0121 772 7685. Next, Sutton Coldfield West Scouts are holding a fun day and their AGM on Saturday the 17th of June. It's an afternoon of family fun in the park and a chance to learn what Scouting has achieved in Sutton Coldfield West over the past year. There's archery, shooting, axe throwing, inflatables, kids games, crafts, scouting, skills, races and much more. It's open to all members of the district, family and friends. So it's on the 17th of June and it all takes place in the field behind the 10th Sea Scout Group's HQ, which is at Boldmere Gate in Sutton Park. So to find out more, you can call Paul Little on 0789 694 8601, or you can email Paul paul.little@birminghamscouts.org.uk. So there you go. That's what we found pinned to this week's Community Notice Board. But if you know about something we could be telling people about, why don't you get in touch? Give us at least a week's notice and we might just put you on the telly. You can talk to us in a number of ways. You can email news@madeinbirmingham.tv or on social media. Look us up, send us a message. We are at MadeInBHamTV. Or just use the hashtag Birmingham News. As we always tell you, we'll look it up and we'll probably find you. And of course, we'll have more for you at the very same time next week. So then, time for a break, and when we come back, Steve will be talking to his weekly guest and Carl will have the film news. Stay with us. Welcome back. Still to come later in the show, we'll be choosing a letter in our A to Z of the West Midlands. Plus, we'll have a look at what's on across our area. Now, did you realise that one of Britain's largest rehearsal studios is right here in the Midlands? Well, Steve Green sounded out music mentor Rob Hoffman about a Birmingham landmark, which has been the home to such stars as Ozzy Osbourne, Robert Plant, and on occasion our very own Des Tong.
Hi Lee. The West Midlands is sometimes accused of not making enough noise about its own achievements. But we're at a place which has been banging the drum for Midlands music for the last 30 years. Welcome to Urbana Studios. So here we are in the room where dreams are made, Rob, your recording studio.
Indeed they are, yes.
I bet there have been a fair few famous bands in here over the years.
Yes, we've been here a long time now, and historically we've had bands that have started from nothing and they've kind of matured and developed and gone on to be well-known, respected artists in the music business. So it's a good place, yeah.
So has the equipment changed much over the last 30 years?
Absolutely. Technology has gone sky high. It's gone from the old-fashioned tape recording that a lot of people know in vintage films with the reel-to-reel, and that's now gone to digital. And digital is where it's at. It's our current state of the art, and it's amazing what technology can do. It's a wonderful experience to work with the new technology.
But do you feel it's actually changed the music itself? The way of recording it has changed the music?
Fundamentally, no. It's still microphones, and it's still musicians, it's still bands, it's still real instruments and real musicians that have got to play the instruments. So we work with real bands here. It's not about computer-generated music and manufactured artists. There are some studios that do that, and particularly London, where the artist is just put there as a vehicle to sell the production of the song. And that's all manufactured on a computer by a guy in a recording studio like this.
Well, when they also control the vocal range as well, so if they go slightly out of key, it pulls you back in again. That seems a bit unfair to me.
Well, again, it's the way technology is. You can go into a recording studio and sing as flat as a pancake, and the technology can make you sound wonderful. It's where it's at.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you go out and sing live, you sound terrible.
Well, unfortunately, that's what you have to deal with. But even technology has kind of gone into a place now where you can sing live through the automated technology, and it can make you sound wonderful. It's an amazing experience what you're singing through.
So who recorded here in the really early days?
Going back to the very early days, King Pleasure and the Biscuit Boys were one of our first bands, the blues band. Robert Plant's been here, of course. A band called Magnum, they're a kind of well-known
remember Magnum well.
Rock band. We've recently had Blaze Bailey here, who was an Iron Maiden singer for a while, and Ocean Colour Scene started off here in the old days.
The Midlands band, of course.
They certainly were. Pop Elite itself, again, they started off here in the early days. Ned's Atomic Dustbin started off here when they were young. And it's been all sorts of bands that have gradually started young and matured and gone on to be well known and respected.
And I think you had the Pussycat Dolls recording here?
Indeed, yes. That was our last charted single, which was J-Ho, which went to number 3 in the charts just a few years ago. So we were very proud of that. The Pussycat Dolls, that were banners, yes.
So when you get a band in here, I mean, how long would they normally sort of spend, recording a single?
We can usually record a single in a day. So a day being 10, 12 hours. It's all the elements of that track. So the drums, bass guitar, keyboards, guitar, the vocals, then the overdubs, the editing, the mixing, the mastering, the finalising. So there's lots of different elements to a raw band playing instruments. But by the time you hear the CD that we all kind of finally listen to, It's gone through a big process
It's all
to
been
finally
carefully
get
mixed
there.
together.
Oh yes, yeah. It
And
has.
an album, I guess, would take what, a week or so at least.
Well, a week if it's a local band, but we recently did an album that took us 3 months to do. But again,
Lord.
that was a charted album from a well-known artist, but it was worth it at the end because it sold a lot of albums.
Is that
and
3 months of solid work? Or just...
3 months of work. But it was worth it because they sold a lot of albums, we all got paid, and everybody was happy. So it was a good arrangement for everybody.
Yeah, and I guess it feels like home, actually, this place to a lot of people.
It does, because they spend a lot of time here. And an average band will rehearse 2 or 3 times a week if they're rehearsing for a show, a concert, or to record a demo. And a recording can often take 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So we make it very homely. It's very friendly, it's very laid back. They get to play the PlayStation, they get the teas and coffees, they get the pizzas and the curries delivered, and they enjoy themselves while they're here. It's work, but they enjoy it while they're here. It's
that
good
comes
fun.
across, obviously, in the
Sure.
music when they're filming.
Of course it does, yeah.
Less of a sort of a conveyor belt.
Absolutely, yeah.
And actually, but talking about conveyor belts, we've got to get out of here now because there's another band coming in here very shortly.
Yes, there's a band booked in this evening, so we'll be doing some Motown soul classics this evening, and we will be enjoying ourselves, and so will the band.
Great.
Well, next week, Steve and Rob will discuss the huge amount of musical creativity in this region and why it's important to nurture the green shoots of performing talent at the earliest opportunity. Now, time for some movie news, and fresh from his daily film slot in the Lowdown, it's back to Carl Jones.
Thanks very much, Lee. Time to take a look at what's new across the movie world in the West Midlands today. I'm here at the Light Cinema in Walsall, where it's been very busy with 2 very different films. How's this for a lineup? Baywatch and Wonder Woman, 2 great TV shows of a bygone era resurrected for a big screen treatment. Now, if you're expecting a fuzzy, nostalgic return to the days of David Hasselhoff and Pamela Anderson in the new Baywatch film, you will be disappointed, because apart from the title and the fact that it's set on a beach, it does bear very little resemblance. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is the main man this time round, who doesn't take kindly when Zac Efron's hunk cop is brought in to help solve the mystery of a body on a beach.
Our team is the elite of the elite. We're the heart and soul of this very beach. We protect when other people don't want to protect, and we go above and beyond.
If you want me, you can have me.
Some other time.
We're staring into the abyss here. City Council's already cut our funding. It's up to us to restore the Baywatch brand.
I'm Matt Brody, ready for duty.
Do you just look at my boobs? You should look at my face.
I'm trying, but it's so close to your boobs.
Ha.
This is the guy you think is a good PR opportunity for us.
Do some shots!
He's reckless.
With 2 gold medals. How many gold medals do you have? Probably 0.
We got a dead body on our beach. Welcome to Baywatch.
Why are you grabbing me so tight?
Why does she always look like she's running in slow-mo?
You see it too?
Cue lots of swooning between male and female, lots of sexual innuendo, and some quite inappropriate language actually for a film that's based at family. So Baywatch, not entirely a nostalgic return, and you may find if you are a fan from the 80s, you've arrived at the cinema under false pretenses. Wonder Woman is also back on our screens. Now, of course, she was part of Batman vs Superman last year, which was critically panned, but she really stole the show. This time she's teamed up with Chris Pine in a tale where Diana Vickers is an Amazonian princess who realises that her real role in life is to come along and save the world. Cue lots of opportunities for Clark Kent-style scenes where she doesn't really realise her power. Here's a moment where she's cornered in an alley and you start to realise there's more to her than meets the eye.
Steve, why are we hiding?
Come on.
Captain Trevor, I believe you have something that is the property of General Ludendorff.
Ah, it's the bad guy convention.
Give us Dr. Maru's notebook.
Where'd I put that thing?
Stand back. Or maybe not. Tough luck. Is there anything else you want to show me?
So there you go, Wonder Woman now showing across the West Midlands. I'll leave you this week with a more familiar scene of Wonder Woman in the full red, white and blue costume, rampaging across the battlefield. See you next week.
Stay here. I'll go ahead.
So then, time for another short break, but when we come back it'll be time to pick a letter as we look through the A to Z of the West Midlands. Plus we'll have our regular look at the arts, and of course Des and Gary will be here to see what's on during the coming week. I'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back to the programme with me, Lee Bannister. Time now to pick another letter in our journey through the A to Z of the West Midlands. Here's Richard.
Thank you very much, Lee, and welcome to your first instalment of A to Z of the West Midlands, the segment of the show where we bring you the things that make the West Midlands great. Today, we arbitrarily begin the series with the letter S for scratchings. Our region's cuisine carries with it many a delicacy we can be proud of. Faggots and gravy, grey peas and bacon, but the one which stands out like a fat man in a particularly colourful suit has to be the illustrious pork scratching. The perfect compadre to a warm pint of ruby, pork scratchings have been a staple snack in the Black Country since the 1800s. And who better to ask about the origin of the pork scratching than Made in Birmingham's resident historian, Norman Bartlam.
Pork scratchings was the food of poor people. Many people kept pigs in their back gardens and fattened them up for slaughter, making sure that nothing went to waste. With food scarce, no part of the pig was left wasted, and so these small, greasy, fatty little snacks became really popular. Now, scratchings have always been popular in the Black Country and in Birmingham, and they're even more popular now because someone's discovered that 49% of each packet is protein, which is good for you. All you need to do is to forget the 47% of it that's fat. It's not surprising, really, that 20 million bags of scratchings are sold every year.
Norman there, just scratching the bristly surface of our favourite salty deep fried snack. The pork scratchings industry in the West Midlands is thought to be worth more than £30 million per year, and this is growing with the recent resurgence of the snack's popularity, with Midland Snacks alone claiming to sell around 600 tonnes of them every year, with stars such as Cameron Diaz, Kate Moss, Nicole Scherzinger and universally loved national treasure Chris Evans all pledging their love for the pork scratching. It may no longer be almost solely a luxury of the working classes. As the American author Greg Gutfeld puts it in his Lessons from the Land of Pork Scratchings are delightfully grim, hardened strips of brown matter and pure cholesterol, but a snack he could not stop eating. However, health concerns about pork scratchings may actually be misplaced, with stars such as Beyoncé claiming they are a staple in their strict diets. So that just about wraps up today's segment on deep-fried pigskin. Back over to you, Lee.
And if you'd like to suggest a letter and a subject for Richard to have a go at, then get in touch. You can email news@madeinbirmingham.tv. So then, are you wondering what's on around our area? Well, worry no more, because here come Des and Gary to fill us in.
And here we are. Where are we? We are
Turtle
at
Bay.
the Turtle Bay Bar, which is on John Bright Street.
Yeah, brilliant. It's fantastic here, and the food is great. If you're into Caribbean food, especially jerk chicken and that sort of stuff, which I love, which is why I've eaten here numerous times. It's fantastic. And cocktails, you have the information on cocktails?
2 for 1 until 7 every day.
That's brilliant. It's great value, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great. It's a great place. Seriously, if you haven't been here, it's authentic, it's fantastic, and I love the speakers on the wall.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Good.
Okay, let's get on.
Crack on then.
Wolverhampton Art Gallery until September the 3rd. Acclaimed artist Charlotte Hodes has got an exhibition called Remember Me. It includes an ambitious 12-metre long frieze and also a collection of intricate paper cuts, one of which we're looking at right now, and also 350 plates. Wow. Which demonstrate the artist's incisive and challenging approach to the aesthetic potential of domestic objects. Whatever that means.
Yeah. Good. Now, hat stand at the Kitchen Garden Cafe, which features music, poetry, storytelling and visual art, all for just £5. It's in Kings Heath. It's free for performers. Just arrive before 7:30 to book your 5-minute spot. That's very important. It's an intimate space, since it's open mic but without a mic. And there's also a pop-up shop for artworks and merchandise.
Love it.
Right,
just around the corner from the Hare and Hounds.
Yeah, good, good venue.
Now on Tuesday, join experts from Loaf Cookery School at the wonderful Martineau Gardens for an evening of foraging and wild cooking.
Mrs. GJ will be there. She likes a bit of wild foraging.
They'll show you how to identify wild foods and prepare them while you stroll around the vegetable gardens looking for discarded weeds, find edible treats in the woodland and other seasonal surprises.
Very nice.
Are you a seasonal surprise there?
Oh, yeah.
Plus at the end you get to cook your finds in the outdoor kitchen, either in the earth oven or over the fire pit.
Fantastic, that sounds like good fun.
Yeah.
Okay, starting on Tuesday at the Hippodrome, the Addams Family. Oh, remember that?
Yes.
The musical comedy. Don't look at me like that. Stars not him, but Les Dennis as Uncle Fester, although you could see the resemblance. Okay. It's the UK premiere from the writers of the multi-award winning hit musical The Jersey Boys, which is brilliant, and I still haven't seen it, so I've got to get to London to see it because it's not on in Birmingham anymore, and that will run until Saturday.
Fantastic. Me look like Uncle Cheek. Anyway, comedy shows on Thursday. Jongleurs, the byword for stand-up comedy. They're at the Core Theatre in Solihull, and also at the Mac, Edinburgh features Patrick Monaghan, Nick Doody, and they're going to be previewing their stuff that they're going to be doing at the Edinburgh Festival.
I suppose there'll be a lot of that coming on now, won't it, of Edinburgh. So have you ever been to Edinburgh Festival?
Yes, I have. I played there with Alvin Stardust.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
fantastic.
I've never been. And Stadium at the Birmingham Rep sees one crowd sharing one colour, one song and one wish. It's a pioneering world premiere of hundreds of Aston Villa, Birmingham City and West Bromwich Albion fans all sharing their surprising, funny and heartbreaking stories of their time watching football and being football fans. And they both run until the 17th.
And then Gig of the Week, well, shameless self-promotion here.
Go on.
You've got to get down to the Blue Piano on Saturday the 10th of June.
Why? Why?
Because the wonderful Sissy Stone and her band are going to be playing there.
And they've got a bass player in that band, looks just like you.
Yeah.
Except younger.
Yeah. Well, absolutely.
Thanks, chaps, and they'll be back here at around the same time each week. Plus, you can catch on with what's going on during the rest of the week on Thursday's edition of The Lowdown. Right, now it's time for a relaxed profile of another artist.
So we're Broken Hair. We make faux taxidermy. And anything really sculptural, to be honest. Yeah, anything you want, we can make it. The unicorn sells the most. I mean, I think we're on over 200 now at the moment, and they sell all over the world. There's one in Japan, there's one in Australia, there's one in Qatar, and there's a few in America. So yeah, that's the one that sells the most. And then second is the zebra, and then the stag, and then the fox. Yeah, and hopefully the giraffe soon. So it's an animal sculpture, sculpted in clay first, and then we take a mould of the clay and we cast it out in a really rigid plaster, and then add all the hairs, just flocking, and then airbrush the lines back on it and all the pattern back on it. And it's quite a process, and you can't make any mistakes. As soon as you made a mistake, you have to stop, wash it all off and start again, because you can't rub anything out on it, which is frustrating. It works with static, so you charge all the hairs up, and then you kind of shake them all over it like that, and they fly onto the glue. And then you, with compressed air, then you blow the hairs in the direction you want them to go in, because otherwise they're all just stuck out like that, and it doesn't look quite real. But yeah, at that point, you've got to be careful, because if you blow too hard, it'll blow it off the glue and you'll be left with bald patches everywhere. But yeah, it's a fun process, but at the same time, it's quite frustrating, because as soon as you make a mistake, you can't sort of fill it in and you have to stop and start again all the time. But just, yeah, you have to be careful. So we're brokenhair.co.uk, and where you'll find us is Broken Hair on Instagram, Broken Hair on Twitter, and Facebook as well, and you can contact through all of those sites. But also on Etsy, Broken Hair on Etsy. I think that's where we seem to sell most of our stuff, but yeah, our website's better. We do a lot for interior design, yeah, so sort of bar theming, and yeah, interior designers, so if they do sort of a big manor house or something like that, they usually take a few of our pieces. And we've had a few commissions, so it was a wolf's head we had to do a walrus for a bar in Manchester. So yeah, mostly interior design. I think that's our biggest client, I suppose. Yeah.
And we'll be profiling another artist at around the same time next week. Now, maybe you are an artist with a passion for the subjects you portray. Why don't you get in touch? You never know, we might be able to feature you or your work on the show. Or perhaps you know of an artist that we could cover. Either way, we'd love to take a look at your work, so why don't you get in touch? You can always email us news@madeinbirmingham.tv. Right, time for a break, but don't go anywhere, because we've got an appointment with Jason in the Milk Bar, and then Norman will be seeing what's so special about this week, and of course we'll take a look at the weekend weather too. It's all to come in a few minutes' time. Right, let's make our regular call to the Milk Bar now with Jason Forrest, who this week is talking to a local author.
Wolverhampton author born and bred Ian Cattell has got a book that has recently been published, and he joins me now to tell me more about it. Hello.
Oh yeah.
So we have it in front of us, The Long Lost Future, and you're in a sort of Douglas Adams, Terry Pratchett kind of world.
Yeah, I'm a member of a number of Terry Pratchett fan groups on Facebook. The one I interact with mostly is called We Ain't Dead, which is a line from a Pratchett book that only Pratchett fans will get. And I've been a member for a while, and then the book came out, and I thought, right, you know. So I mentioned it to them. A few of them downloaded it, and then they've reviewed it basically for the other members of the group, and said, "Get this, it's just like Pratchett." A few of them have said, "I finished it last night, and I'm going to start it again tonight."
When it comes to that reaction, that must be great as an author.
It's amazing. I mean, imagine it. I'm a newbie author. This is my debut novel. The publisher snapped it up within a week. It was the first publisher I'd sent it to. I thought I'll self-publish, when I'd finished it. But I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. So and the first publisher I sent it to snapped it up within a week, even though they said on their website, "Yeah, we'll get back to you in a month." And within a week, I'd got we'll have it.
And how did you approach the writing? Was it a case of, whilst working, I'm going to write a chapter here, a chapter there, or did you sit down and consciously try to write a book?
See, my parents passed 2 years ago, within 3 months of each other, and I'd been their carer for 5 years. So when they passed on, For 6 months, yeah, for 6 months, I was staring at a wall.
Yeah, you got not only the grief, but also the solitude, and that's must have been quite difficult to deal with.
It was a distinct change in life direction. You know what I mean? I was gobsmacked. You know, so I got back into my work. I wrote some software. I wasn't enthused by it. And then I'd written sort of maybe 5,000 words of that a couple of years earlier, and I found it again on my hard drive while I was tatting about and thought, actually, that's not too bad, you know. So I just said, right, I'm going to do this. I am going. So I spent like 12 hours a day for 6 months on it. The outline of the plot was in my head. I knew where I wanted it to go. I know I wanted it to be a satire. Basically, the plot is a mechanism to satirise what's going on now. So that's what it's a twin timeline kind of thing. So I can take the mick out of this world from 600 years in the future and allude to things that are going on now. Basically, the plot is just a mechanism for the gags and the satire. You know.
So who are the main protagonists in this? Have you got a group of people who may well follow you into a second novel?
Yes, I'm already working on the second novel. 5,000 words in it as we speak. Randall James is the protagonist, and his mentor, Marcus Hahn, and his definitely ex-girlfriend, Cindy Lehman. And they go on a time travel adventure to the other side of the world and then to the past and meet a lot of strange characters on the way, talking trees, talking birds. That's where the fantasy aspect comes in.
Yeah.
The Pratchett fans will appreciate that, and they do. They've reported back that they do. And it's also a hero's journey type of story. Randall grows throughout the book and ends up as a different person. There's bits of me in all of the characters, to be honest. It's hard not to put a bit of yourself into a character because it's, you know, their speech is coming from you. So there's a little bit of sort of acting involved in your head. You sort of take on the persona of the person that you think it is, you know, and try to come up with the words they'd say. Which is an interesting 6 months. If you can imagine waking up in the middle of the night with a character's line going through your head, going, "Oh wow, that's a good idea," and reaching for the pad,
trying to write it down some way. Yeah,
that happened a lot. Yeah, as you can tell by the eye bags, probably.
Well, this is it. And if you're already on the next novel, then that's obviously going to make a difference. And I suppose it's important to do whilst these characters are fresh in your mind, so you don't have to reread your book.
Yeah.
Have you read your own book more than once?
During the editing process, I read it about 6 times.
Okay.
Each time it was a different version.
Yeah.
But when I got to the last read through, it was I'd done as much as I could to make it polished. You know, it worked. I think. Yeah. It is. Keeping the characters fresh is useful. Yeah. But the characters are changing as well. In the sequel, you see, in that book, I don't want to give any spoilers away. But this timeline gets erased. So it's a bit difficult for a sequel.
Yes, it changes things and moves on. But as long as they've read the first book, they will understand the second completely. And who knows where this world is going to lead to. But is there a kind of online presence for these characters as well? I mean, do they have their own Facebook page yet? Or is that something you're still looking at working on once you've got the book really out there?
They haven't got a Facebook page, but I have. I'd set up I've got a couple of Facebook pages now. And that's where I sell it. Basically, I'm chatting to the Terry Pratchett fans online, and just being authory, kind of thing. You know, I'm just writing a few choice paragraphs here and there, and you can write, you know. And, it builds
and drawing them in with little short clips and bits of story. So that sounds good. So, what is your Facebook page and your website?
Well, I'm Ian Cattell on Facebook. You can find me. My profile is public. And it's iancattell.online on the website.
So iancattell.online. Find it that way. Or just look for the Facebook page for Ian Cattell. It is The Long Lost Future. Available now from all good online bookstores and Ian directly. But Ian, thanks for having a chat with us. Great meeting up with you.
Thanks very much, Jason.
Thanks very much, Jason. And of course, we'll have more from the Milk Bar at the same time next week. But if that's not enough for you, then the Milk Bar is also on the radio and it's a podcast too. Just order up themilkbarpodcast.com to find out more. Now then, let's take a quirky but interesting trip back in time with everyone's favourite historian. It's our Norman Bartlam.
Wings for Victory Week was held in June 1943 to encourage people to help in the war effort. The adverts called for the citizens of Birmingham to live up to their motto of Forward and urged people to raise £12 million. That's enough money to build 1,000 planes. Joe Public could hand over cash by putting it into national savings certificates, defence bonds and national war bonds, and could be invested by the city's very own Birmingham Municipal Bank. Broad Street held an RAF in action display, which included a Lancaster bomber, a Hurricane that had been in the Battle of Britain, and a Spitfire, which was erected and dismantled each day by members of the Women's Auxiliary Air Force. Around 5,000 servicemen and women marched along Broad Street. The part played by local industries was recognised in the exhibition, which attracted thousands of curious spectators, all eager to have a gawp at a Messerschmitt, courtesy of the Luftwaffe, although they probably didn't give permission for it to be there.
And if you'd like Norman to take a look at something interesting in history, why don't you get in touch? You can email news@madeinbirmingham.tv. So then it's time to close the pages of the Birmingham News Weekend Magazine for Saturday. Now I'll be back tomorrow night at 6 with more from the Weekend Magazine, and then I'll see you bright and early on Monday morning at 7 for the Birmingham News Review. Plus, of course, you can keep up to date with more news for Birmingham and the West Midlands every weekday at 6 and 8 in the evening. So that's it for now. Stay tuned, the weather's up next, and then after the break we'll be seeing what George and Taffy have been up to this week on The Lowdown. Thanks for watching. From me, for now, ta-ra a bit.